You're listening to the We're Not Fine podcast with Doug Jensen and Dr. Talia Jackson. Welcome back, everybody.
Thank you, Greg. Welcome back.
Hello. Buongiorno.
Wow, are you wearing your Italian outfit today?
I'm feeling very Italian-inspired.
You know, not to keep referencing White Lotus, but they always say Buonasera, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. I think it means like a greeting of some kind.
It's good evening.
Oh.
It is.
I'm somewhat thinking my 60th birthday will be, which is like 40 years away. But
right. I know. That's what I was going to say, too. But you're just thinking about your 60th birthday.
I'm just thinking about it.
Ball.
Decades ahead. I'm thinking, I think I want to go to Italy for it and find a place on the water and resort it. Wouldn't that be nice?
OMG, you must. I'm very surrounded by Italy right now as well. I mean, I have family that lives out there as well, and it's one of my favorite places on earth. But one of my tricks for my beautiful slumber, I'm very embarrassed to even admit this, because I tried guided imagery,
Prosecco.
I love my Prosecco. No, but all of these audio options, I'm trying not to look at my screen before bed. I was doing, the guided muscle relaxation, binaural audio, blah, 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 whatever that is, sleep sound, sleep music, on and on and on. And guess what did the trick for me? You'll never guess. And she's actually, it's an amazing book, and I'm embarrassed to say this out loud. I'm probably going to be struck down by lightning. But Elena Ferrante, she wrote a book called My Brilliant Friend. It's so good, but I don't really know that for a fact. I only know what chapter 1, chapter 8, and chapter 37 sound like, because there's something about the woman reading and her voice. It sounds like this. And she talks about her experience growing up by Sicily. And it's just like the sing-songy, beautiful, and and I am out like a light. Plus CBD and CBN and a little bit of melatonin.
So, you know what's interesting about that? So the audiobook thing, so interesting that if you like how the person talks, it's easier to be interested.
Yes.
I listened to one on my last road trip back and forth from LA, and I could not stand how the person was talking, but I wanted to listen to the audiobook. Yeah. And I'm like, can I get past it? Because it was a person who was using a particular way of talking and being sing-songy at times. And I'm like, just talk. I don't do well with affected talking.
I know. It makes you really
mad.
Love it. No, it's like a little rage trigger for you.
It is a rage trigger.
I won't go into details.
No, you can go into detail. In doing this podcast, I've had people recommend different podcasts for me to listen to. And I remember, Greg, you gave me 5 very early on, and I'm like, I hate them all. I liked the content of one of them in particular, but I couldn't stand the other ones. And part of it is just the and maybe, people feel that about my voice on this podcast.
Probably. I've gotten lots of comments. They're like, what's up with that guy?
What's up with his whatever?
Well, you do
energy.
Sometimes sound like you're from Canada.
Do I?
Eh? Oh, yeah.
I don't
you got
say, no.
You lean into Minnesotan and past Minnesota to Canada.
Here is what the words are. So when I go east in particular, I'll say things like about. And somehow the word about
That's right.
and how I say it, I can't hear it. So my older daughter, some of her friends listened to the podcast when we first started, and they said, is your dad Canadian? I'm like,
see, I told you, I knew it. But
it's the word about.
On the other hand, sound like I'm every woman, and I could be from anywhere. Except
I would
for
like
New Zealand.
everyone to comment on that on our YouTube or on our We're Not Fine.
Minnesotan.
Greg at We're Not Fine.
This is not what what were we going to be talking about? Because this isn't it.
I don't know, but I think it's time for us to get into the mailbags for today.
I feel cut off and shut down in this relationship.
Shut down.
Wayward. We're wayward and rudderless.
It's something we're going to...
I have a feeling you're going to be very stimulated by this next mailbag.
Okay.
I'm fairly easily stimulated by mailbags.
And anyway...
MALE bags.
We're just going to leave that
bag of
right
mails.
there.
I'm sorry, Greg. Go ahead.
I love that I provoke the two of you and you don't know what to do with me necessarily.
Yeah.
Oh, we know what to do with you, but it's just not legal on air.
Okay, go. Mailbag.
All right. This is from Elijah.
Oh, Elijah.
Elijah Wood comes to mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking Elijah the prophet, the person on Passover that you put a glass of wine out for.
I don't.
Yeah.
But thank you for the reference.
My girlfriend regrets us having sex too early when she has a history of sleeping with guys on her first dates. We were just talking about the first time we had sex last year, and she told me that she felt like we shouldn't have done it earlier, which they did on the third date, since it made her feel insecure about the way I see her. She added that it didn't feel organic as chemistry wasn't there, and she didn't want me to feel that she's easy to get. Mm-hmm. This baffled me because, one, we were calling each other for hours every day prior to the first time we had sex, and I felt like we were building great chemistry and connection through deep conversations. And two, she told me stories about her sleeping on her first dates in the past, especially that one fling with this doctor who apparently was really arrogant and annoying, but nonetheless invited him to sleep with her after a brief lunch together because she was horny. So when asked about whether she sees sex as something more casual, she answers yes. I then ask, if that's the case, shouldn't it be okay for us to have done it earlier since we had established feelings and connections prior to doing it? She then replies she didn't feel any connections that I felt during our initial meetup, and daily ritual calls as an intimate vibe, and concludes with, you are a boyfriend material excuse. This hit me hard because when we started our relationship a year ago, she had just broken up with her ex a couple months before, and she still missed him back then. The first few months with her were rough for me because I felt like I was constantly compared with her ex, and she wouldn't tell me how he was a better boyfriend or I'm a better partner. To her, a boyfriend is someone who can make her happy by doing romantic things, and a partner is someone who can make her feel safe and secure. To be fair, I'm not much of a romantic person in a materialistic way, like showering gifts and going on fancy dates, but I don't know how I feel about this relationship not being primarily based on romantic feelings towards each other. Though to her defense, her feelings have grown and matured over time since we've been together. Lately, I've been having the urge to just break up with her since I feel like she's simply settling with me because I'm safe. Our conversation about our first sexual experience really didn't make me feel better about the whole situation either. Am I just being narrow-minded here? Really curious to hear from you both about your perspectives on this one.
Greg, can I ask a follow-up question, or maybe I just didn't understand? Did she say that he is or is not boyfriend material?
I'm sorry. The first few months with her were rough for me because I felt like I was being constantly compared with her ex. She would tell me how he was a better boyfriend and I'm a better partner. So
okay.
He's the better boyfriend, that Elijah's the better partner, but the other guy was the better boyfriend.
And because partners make you feel safe, but boyfriends are romantic. And there was a question about the chemistry.
Romantic, exciting, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because there is this, and it's funny because usually you hear it the other way around, that it's a little bit like of a, have you ever heard like the Madonna whore kind of syndrome where it's like, she is looking at him and judging him in a way about how quickly they had sex. Although she was fine having sex very early in a lot of her other relationships. And I wonder if it's like in her mind, it's like, if you have sex too early, then it's casual and it's fun and it's romantic and it's sexy. But if you want to have an actual real relationship, then you wait. A part of me, I was thinking that this is like old trauma for her and a really old pattern. And maybe she was trying to reinvent herself because she felt gross about how early she had been having sex and she wasn't taking herself seriously, didn't like the way she was showing up in the world. And so she wanted to just really slow it down so she could take herself and the relationship more seriously. I don't know. But yeah, this whole like Madonna horror situation. I mean, what's really interesting is that I feel like I can't really tell what it is she's looking for with you, Elijah. Like, is she wanting you to be both? Because yes, this is like a real problem in the universe as well, that safety and security inherently means that you are less unpredictable, romantic, sexy, all of the things. It's very hard to maintain both of them because security and safety means predictable, reliable, not moody and crazy and hot and cold. And so I don't know. I don't even know. I'm so confused by this.
I'm not all that confused.
I'm wondering, Doug, if we take it away from her, or take the situation out for a second and just examine the idea of having sex and when to have it and what it means, right?
Okay. Yep.
Because I'm going to challenge both of you to this question in a different way, or reframe this situation in a different way. It seems to me, and I'm just using personal experience in dating and stuff like that, that it's almost like some people put the date in a box before it goes any further. And whether like this is going to be a date for possible dating material, or this is going to be a date where we're going to see if we click and we're going to have, a lot of extracurricular fun for dessert. And this person that we're going to have an interesting, fun time for dessert is not going to go into the box one where we're going to be a relationship. It's almost like am I wrong in that some people tend to sort of separate and put people into boxes for the purpose and then have trouble discerning and mixing among that? Or is that not?
I don't know. I don't know whether I want to comment on that or if I want to comment directly to Elijah. I'm going to start with Elijah and then I'm going to comment on that. Elijah, the sad reality from where I'm sitting is I don't think she's that into you. And I'm going to just put that out there because, she's complaining about your sexual behavior. She's telling you that the chemistry wasn't there. And as everybody knows, I'm a chemistry freak. I think it's critically important for any relationship to have some longevity if you have that really strong physical chemistry. Physical chemistry will take you through really hard times if you like how that person feels, tastes, smells, all the things. So there's a part of this where I'm just hearing her kind of backing up and complaining about something that she partook in as well. I don't love any of that. And I think there's something about that is leading you to feel that tendency to move away from this relationship. And so I'm going to tell you, Elijah, trust your gut. I hate that you're feeling like you're the person she's settling for. I hate that you got compared. I got to tell you, I'm so frustrated and agitated that she compared you to an ex, which of course, sounds like a little bit like a rebound is happening, because she just recently broke up with someone right before you. So it's possible. But comparing anybody that you're with to an ex is a no-no. Mm-hmm. And it's an indicator that that person has either not resolved that relationship, still has feelings about it, is in that sort of like overlap between one relationship and another. I used to have a name for that. I don't know what I would call it now. I just probably call it overlap. I don't love that. I don't think it's great. And so Elijah, all of these things, blaming you for your sexual behavior. By the way, I don't think it has anything to do with what she's done before. I think people change. I think people learn. I think people develop. So even if she's had sex on the first date with a lot of people, it doesn't matter. And what matters is that the two of you coming together had to navigate that relationship that you have, not the one that either one of you have had before that time. Greg, going back to your question, I think this goes back to like people being thoughtful about what they're looking for. And I will tell you, I don't think it's very common for people to be able to like fluctuate back and forth. Like if you're really looking at, I really think this person is my type physically, I'm hoping we go into, the bedroom later. I'll invite them back to my apartment for some making out, which I'm someone who believes that it's really okay. I know there are some religious beliefs that might interfere with this, but I think you got to test it out. I have been with people who are just amazing on paper, but not good chemistry. And I know that right away. I remember dating someone who I thought was just the most amazing person. And we started being physical, and I'm like, oh, no, it's not there. Like, it's just not going to work. And it didn't work. And I tried a little bit. I tried to give it some time. It just wasn't going to happen. And I regret
it. How soon in do you have sex then, do you think? I don't think there's a rule. I don't think there's a rule about this. I think everyone is different. Guys, I am someone who will absolutely want to taste the menu before going any further. God.
I need to know if it's there, right? And I'm going to be really honest about what I'm looking for sexually, probably before I even go on a date. But I am not 20 anymore, and I know what I'm looking for. Go ahead.
I would say that if it is something casual that you're looking for, something really just appetizer-y, sexy, romantic, hot, only chemistry, and it doesn't really matter if you share a vision or political leanings or what their relationship with their mom is like.
Okay.
Right? That's like appetizer material right there. Like, because it's going to end quickly. You're not going to have a long main course. It's just like appetizers.
Except, Talia, I'm just going to say I would never be physical with someone who was racist or a bigot in any sort of way. I'm not going to do it.
How do you even know? And what does it matter if this is just a casual fling and you're just going to have sex and never see them again?
It matters to a lot of us, I'll tell you. Like, I think, honestly, on these apps, for example, there's a lot of people like no Trump supporters. Do not even respond to me if you're a Trump supporter.
All Doug is saying, I think, Talia, and I'm not trying to speak for you, but if Doug, had his sexy fun time and then was walking out and saw the Trump 2024 bumper sticker on that guy's truck, he would probably never see that guy again.
Oh, I'm also telling you, if I saw the bumper,
see the guy again anyway.
If I saw the bumper sticker on the way in, it's over. I'm walking away. I'm saying something that's not very nice. 100%.
Okay, so but 100%. This is really interesting because, like, what I was thinking is that if someone is interested in an actual real relationship, then all of those things matter because you want like a slow build. You do care about who they are as a human. All of a sudden, it does really matter how they treat the server, how they, what they do for their grandma's birthday. Like, all of those things matter in a different way because you're both looking for something longer term. And in that case, I would say, I'm making this up. However, this is written nowhere, and don't listen to me, people. However, I would say that, like, maybe don't have sex until the third date. That sounds really reasonable because you're not going to really know who that person is. And I would say that maybe having sex before you really know who they are, then it confuses what you're building towards. However, if the chemistry, the passion, the moment overtakes you and you find yourself on the kitchen table having sex, go with it. Just be protected. Have sex with whoever you want.
Yeah,
just
I don't
protection.
I don't see it that way. I think that there's everyone is different. Everyone has different different points of view on this. If I remember, the word horny was in that presentation or that question.
Yeah, because she gets horny and then...
So I just want to say thank you to a woman who talks about being horny. Take away the myth that doesn't happen. Oh, my God. I was so excited to hear it. I almost jumped out of my chair.
Horny.
I know that.
Women are horny.
I know that. I've worked with women who are like, I just want to get off. And I just want to normalize that because we have such stereotypes about that. But Talia, I don't agree. I think there's a part of this that everyone is so different. If I'm really, really into a dude, I am not waiting 3 dates. I'm not. Or if that person wants to.
But you're not looking for a forever person right now. You're looking for casual.
Talia, I'm also going to tell you, I think my experience is that people are more thoughtful about even who they're having a hookup with. I think people are being more selective. I think people, because of these apps, which are like menus, like you can go through, you can see the people who are a foot away from you and a mile away from you and 10 miles away from you, right?
But then
So
I could see someone wanting to be very discerning about maybe like, what toothpaste do you use and do you do CrossFit? But what does it matter how they treat the grandma if you're only going to have sex with them and move on?
So Talia, if you were single,
Okay.
you would have sex with, I don't know.
Are you going to finish this? Are you going to finish?
I was going to say something really awful.
There was a lot of stuttering.
There was.
Doug, let me step in. Would you just have sex with the most perfect, handsome stallion that just walked in the door?
Are you asking Talia or me?
Yeah, I'm asking Talia. Yeah, you know nothing about them. Would you just, and you're horny and you want to do something with someone, would you have sex with someone you know nothing about? They're just a handsome stallion, perfect everything, and they're interested in you, and they say, "Are you horny too?" And you said, "Absolutely."
And then he takes off his clothes, and there's a tattoo of a swastika on his back. And I'm not joking. I'm not joking because your argument would be if you're into it for the moment, you can do anything. I don't agree with that.
Okay, well,
I think you'd stop.
I feel a little bit like I need 6 months to mourn the end of the relationship that I am in, which, I don't know. I can't picture it because I've been with the same man that I actually love for 25 years, but I'm trying to picture, and I feel like what the first 6 months, if anything were to go wrong in my marriage, what I'm picturing is that I would not seek an actual human. I would be watching Outlander reruns and maybe
grabbing some items from the Smitten Kitten. And,
taking care of that by myself. Like, what do I need the complication?
Sex world.
I don't know. I don't know if I would need that drama for a while. But
you're going to ride the
say,
big penis ride at Sex World. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah?
I don't know.
Okay.
I need a little time to think about that.
Invest in a lot of Duracell. A lot of rechargeable batteries.
I don't understand.
Yes.
Tell me more.
The vibrators that need batteries and, okay, moving back to now we're 6 months after the horrible demise of my beautiful marriage, right? And I'm ready to maybe get out there. Rest in peace.
Rob
He's
came
very
out
healthy.
and asked me out, and I said yes.
Oh, is that okay, that's,
yeah.
I can get behind that a little bit more.
I know
okay,
that.
so would I, and then I was ready, and if I wanted it to be casual, I would say that maybe like hygiene, humor, and charm would be at the top of that.
Are you cracking jokes in the middle of changing positions?
He would need, oh God, that's my foreplay, right? I need like someone to kind of like be smart.
So are you
funny
contradicting yourself that when you're having sex, it doesn't matter? And now you're talking about you need humor and you need something else.
But it's like, do I care? Do I care about what kind of a human he is? Probably not.
Wow, I do.
I don't know. Do
do.
I? I'm not marrying the guy.
Even though it's just sex sometimes, there's still something. I take that seriously. I love being with people that I love to be with. And if I have any distractibility,
if you love to be with them, why wouldn't you want to keep being with them? If I were more serious about what I was looking for, then I would say I would not have sex right away. I want to be wined and dined and
Oh, well, so let's kind of go back to my original question or maybe an addendum to that question is is it possible? And it kind of relates to Elijah here. For his girlfriend, if there's no chemistry or there's something off, like let's say it was a fuck buddy or if it was friends with benefits or whatever it was that you were involved in, is it possible to traverse that or evolve it to something more meaningful or to do the reverse? Because I have seen so many people struggle when there's a meeting of the minds on this is just casual and then there's not. and one person wants to evolve it and the other person doesn't, or they are in something and then they want to back away and either open it up or maybe make it less serious or something. How do you traverse that, and what are the ways to evolve that or make those changes?
I'm a frickin' broken record on the word communication. Like, that's what you do. It's the easiest thing, honestly. Like, if you find yourself shifting from, a hookup model to wanting something more serious, talk about it. Talk about that you're, changing how you feel about the dynamic, and check in with the other person and see if they're experiencing the same or if they're not interested in moving that forward. And then you have a decision making to make, because I think some people have kind of fallen for the people that they're trying to have casual with. And if the other person doesn't feel that way, you probably need to walk away from that, because then it's too hard. If you have an open relationship, then it's too hard to, back up if you really want that person for yourself in that situation. I love, though, that our culture is taking a look at different ways of being in relationships. I mean, we have ethically non-monogamous, or ENM, relationships now. I actually do think that's a straight way of talking about the open relationships gay people have been doing for decades.
We need to do a whole episode on that, because I have some pretty strong feelings on that label.
I bet you do.
Well, let's do it. But it also, like, the way I'm hearing it is that it's just communication, right? I mean,
it's all communication.
Yes.
But, and going to the other thing, like, if you're in a committed relationship and you want to open it up, you still have to dialogue. Or if you want it to become more casual, you still have to dialogue. And I got to be honest, that's harder. I've worked with couples who have one party who might want to open it up, and it's very seldom that both people are in that same place. And open relationships can be very complicated to manage when you've had a monogamous relationship and maybe kids are involved, or in-laws are involved, or whatnot, or marriages has taken place legally, straight or gay.
I completely agree that it is so much easier to have the conversations and move forward in the evolution of this. Just started as a hookup, but now I'm starting to have the feels, and then that is the communication, and then there's a decision to make. That was so beautifully said. I think it's almost impossible to reverse from something more serious to casual. I have seen it successful, like 3% of the time. It's a very complicated dynamic to back away from. And the likelihood that both of you are going to be wanting that at the same time is low.
I also want to add that I've had couples that are trying to open up their relationship from a heterosexual or same-sex marriage. Yeah. And one of the things that I always tell people is really understand that your feelings could go back and forth, because I've had people open up and then they find out, you know what, I miss my partner and what we used to have. And we have kids and I miss the family dynamic. And so just know that we are fluid human beings that continuously evolve and grow and experience new things. And it's critically important that we keep communicating about those things with the people who are affected. I think one of the hard parts is that we have kind of some shame about that oftentimes that gets internalized. And we have to make sure that what we're doing is managing that shame and being open and honest about what our experience is, and talk about it first before you go do something that could cause more damage.
Because talking about it first also means maybe you're getting ahead of, because yes, I've had a handful of friends that have also been with the same person for 20 some years and wanted to open up their marriages as well. And it's like, if you can get ahead of what if one of us feels jealous? What if the other one all of a sudden realizes they can't live without the open marriage and the other one is feeling really left behind, or, but we just really want to have this adventure. So even to get ahead of the different vignettes, I had a client once who was just a remarkable communicator and such a deep thinker. Yeah. And she and her partner created really a manifesto for like all of the different scenarios and vignettes and the questions that they ask their new partners. So you've got your primary person, but even just like, what is the time commitment that you're looking for? Like, my primary partner, this is what they're desiring, and this is what I'm desiring to stay over here. This is how much time I have to offer during the week. Does this sound good to you? So yeah, I mean, basically we're always back to communication. There's nothing you really can't solve without a good conversation about it. And sometimes, yes, Doug, it does mean exactly what you said, that all of a sudden there's a decision that needs to be made, but at least you know that you know what page people are on.
And I want to go back, I guess, I don't want to lose Elijah in this whole process. I'm not loving how this relationship dynamic has gone. And I would feel the same way, Elijah, if I were in your circumstance. And I would really feel like I wasn't the right person. And I got to tell you, I wish for you to be at a place where you know how you feel when you are treated, number one, and when you know how you feel about, when somebody's really into you. Don't lose that and don't settle. There was one other piece about that I just checked in on something that I wrote down. Like, you talked about not feeling very romantic and that she wanted someone who is romantic. This goes to kind of love languages and what it is that she might feel, gives her the attention and the satisfaction in the relationship. If that's not who you are, you can do some things. Like, I've absolutely told people, if your partner wants flowers once a week, go get some flowers once a week. It's really no skin off your back. But there are things that just are not inherently natural. And I'm going to guess, right, Elijah, based on how you're experiencing this and the possibility that you were thinking about breaking up with her, I think there's really a low likelihood that will become a genuine, heartfelt giving on your part. And so going back to everything we're talking about communication-wise, the two of you need to communicate, and you need to let her know how you're experiencing the relationship and see how she responds.
Brilliant. I think you should do this for a living.
Do you?
Have you ever considered that?
I've thought of being a therapist. Oh, I've done that for, almost 30 years.
283 years. No.
And I still love it, and it still feels new all the time. So I couldn't be more grateful. Thank you for writing in, Elijah.
Good luck.
Yes, good luck.
Have a question for Doug or Talia? Email us your questions at questions@we'renotfine.com. Eligible questions will be randomly selected for upcoming episodes. For details, visit our website at we'renotfine.com.
Join us every Tuesday for new conversations, new challenging topics, and fun.